Hey, what's up? This is lifestyletraining101.com, and today we're going to go through the S&P 500 history and match the current pattern and see if there are similar patterns in the past so that we can get clues about what's going to happen. So this is an update for the week of May 15th, 2016, but the technique of going back into history is something that I do on a regular basis. So first up, this is the daily chart for the S&P 500, and you'll notice that we had basically an A wave down, B wave up, C wave down, and then we have this big wave. It looks like a wave one, and here we have an A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? We said last week that this is an ending diagonal. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have a big series of green candles. 1, 2, 3 days, and then 3 days down. Now this pattern AB 1 2 3 4 5, it's fairly common in drops. You have an AB, 1 1 2 3 4 5. Like it's not exact, but over here, if you look in June of 2015, you have AB 1 2 3 4 5, right? So this is actually somewhat close to this pattern. Now what happened next was we had a big A wave pop, 3 days, 1 2 3. It's similar to what happened here. It's not exact, but similar, right? A wave up, and it's fairly high. It goes close to the middle to 2/3 of the way up, but then it goes all the way back down. You see how the bottom of these whiskers actually spent 2 days there, very close to the very bottom of this. And right now the very bottom of this whisker is 2032, and it's, if this pattern were to repeat, it's as if we spent 2 days in this high 2030s regions, like 2035, 2038, something like that. And it's possible that that could happen. Now the difference is that there's a lot of overlapping action, right? So you have this you see this whisker candle, this second whisker candle up and down. This B wave down did not have that, right? So that's one difference. On the other hand, there are a lot of people looking for a 1 2 1 2 3 drop, right? So these big third wave drops, right? But if you look at the pattern here, we have, when it drops, it's consecutive red candles, like without much overlap, right? Right from the beginning. But you see, right from the beginning, we already have overlap here. So this pattern doesn't match up with this third wave drop. And same thing with this. Like there's only slight overlap over here, but it's continual red candles down. So I don't see this kind of scenario playing out at this point based on the pattern. So if you go to the site and you search December 30th, because that was, if you go to this chart, that was the day before the new year, and that's basically when it began. Let's take a look at what it looks like. So if you look December 30th and you search, right, so that's this one. So the pattern looked like a leading diagonal, right? So it's A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 was a big drop, right? So that's how the pattern began, and then it continued there, right? We had that, I predicted this wave 2 flat setup, right? That wave 2 flat setup that we got, right? So that's A, B, C, and then that's basically an ABC wave 2, and then a big wave 3 down. We don't have an ABC. We could have an ABC if we had A, B, and they go back up, and then a third wave down. That could be possible. But to drop from here, the setup, it doesn't seem highly. It could drop, but since the pattern structure setup is not clear to me, I wouldn't short, just because I think it's going to go down, even if it does go down. So for this one, if it does go down, I'll sit out. Likewise, over here, when we had this big drop, this was an A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leading expanding diagonal, followed by a wave 2 up, 1, 2, 3, and then finally a third wave down. Here I don't see A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see this one, this two, but the third, because of this overlap, this whisker, it doesn't look like this kind of a third wave down. So the best possibility I can think of is matching it with history, and it matches best with, this A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by a big wave A, and then big wave B that retests the low for 2 days, which it seems like it's in the process of doing. And then what happens is you have basically from that low in A, B, and that B could be an second low, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's why I have on the weekend chart, my best prediction at least in the moment is, we have this kind of whisker set up, so it pushes it down. We might have a 3, 4, 5 somewhere in here, and then an A, B, and that B could be even lower than that. But then from there, we should see a wave up, one up, followed by a wave two, and then 3, 4, 5. And then from that point, if we hit resistance, ideally in the upper 2080s, but if not in the 2083 and 85 area, then from there, we have basically an A, B, C flat setup, and we could set up a third wave down or a C wave down. So my best guess at the moment is we set up an A wave diagonal here, and then an A B 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that makes the B wave high that re-challenges the 2105. So 2105 was the actual high, and we tested 2090s. Remember, like in that B wave, we hit the 2089, 2090 region like so many times, and it seems like that region needs to be tested just one more time in a B wave high before we can revisit the 2000 lows. So I do think this would be a higher probability, but right now I would not buy until I give the bears an opportunity to capitalize on their setup, right? So we have these whiskers, which are usually bearish. So I'll give the bears Sunday night into Monday, and if we don't drop quickly by, let's say, like, Monday afternoon, and we start kind of coiling up, I might enter as a long either Monday or Tuesday. And if I do enter long, we should know by Wednesday whether we're right or wrong. If it does go up by Wednesday, then I would hold it until the top of the wave 5. Otherwise, I would exit. So that's the game plan for this week. I don't think we could drop quickly, but it has to happen, quickly. Even if it does drop, I'm not gonna short it. But if it holds in this area for Sunday night into Monday afternoon, then that could signal a buying opportunity. So we'll see. So now switching to the hourly chart, I thought it's interesting to note that on Friday, the drop here was pronounced in the S&P, but if you look at the Nasdaq, this is the Nasdaq. We actually did not break the lows here. So whereas in the S&P we broke that low a lot, Nasdaq we actually held it quite well. I've been saying for some time that 4,300, just below it, there's a lot of support, and it spent a lot of time here, tested it here, tested it here again. It just seems like there's, because we said that this was an ending diagonal, and it seems like the market will have a tough time getting below 4280 because we had a 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so if you go to this May 7th post, and you look at the Nasdaq, we had an AB 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we already have an ending diagonal in the fifth wave position. So it's gonna be kind of hard for the Nasdaq to go below this area unless the setup is in place. So it's hard to see that the S&P would drop in a huge big wave 3 if the Nasdaq is kind of like not in the same boat as well. Because usually, if there's a big wave three, they all indexes are in the big wave three, right? So if you look at the Nasdaq, when the S&P had a big wave three, Nasdaq had a big wave three. Uh, Same thing here. At the New Year we had it. Back in August we had it. But here we're having a lot of overlap in the S&P. It's not starting correctly, and then the Nasdaq, it seems like it's not dropping as much as the S&P. If you look at the Russell, it too barely broke the lows, right? So there's a lot of support in this 1097 area. That was the bottom of the diagonal here. It broke it just a little bit, but then bounced back up and broke that just a little bit, and it seems like it's working its way back up. So it's a question whether this level of support, 1097, will actually hold. But the fact that the Russell and the Nasdaq did not clearly break the lows in this kind of afternoon, in the way that the S&P did, tells me that a wave three might not, be ready. So that's why my best guess is what we posted here as saying we gotta give the upper region a test one more time in a B wave high before we go down in a C wave down to 2000. So that's my best guess at the moment. So that's it for now. I'll leave with this last motivational quote: "No recognizable pattern, no trade. It's safer to watch. Sometimes the best position is to be in cash. If you overtrade, that's how you lose your account." Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.